Welcome back to Marshall Time, episode 43. July is moving on. What's going on, bro?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
I can't complain. Can't complain. Enjoying some good summer league hoops. Also, Team USA exhibition game. So, as basketball fans, we really been eating good. Before we get started and continue with our division by division summer outlook, we did the Pacific Division last show. We're doing the Northwest today. Just wanted to talk a little bit more about the summer league. Really haven't talk much about it. So just before we dive deep into the Northwest, I want to talk about some summer league notables, whether it's the players, some storylines that have stood out to us. So I'll hand it off to you first. What are some things that have caught your eye, things that you've been paying attention to?
So, well, on the bad side, we got to talk about Alex Sarr, man. Last night he went 0 for 15, 0 for 7 from three. And mind you, this guy is 7'1" and very athletic.
Mm.
Um, to go 0 for 15 at that height in any form of basketball is insane. And the summer league is even worse. I didn't watch the game. I like Sarr. Like I think he has a lot of potential, especially on the defensive end. I know he's a raw prospect, but yeah, they're killing him all over social media, and as they should, because that's just not it. Hopefully he gets it together. Hopefully next time they play, I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow, whenever they play. Hopefully he comes out with a vengeance, and I like to see him get some points up, really attack the paint, like stop selling for three so much. And his shot doesn't look bad actually, but bro, at some point you got to stay away from the jump shots, man. Got to stay away from the jump shots. Let's attack the rim. Let's keep cooking. On the bright side, though, we gotta give a shout out to Reed Shepard, man. He is killing it. Like I'm at the point now where it's like they don't even have to play him the rest of the summer league if they don't want to. They've seen enough. It doesn't even look like he needs to be out there. Like he looks like how those second year guys play. They play in the summer league after they already played a lot of regular season games, and they just look like it's too easy for them. That's what it looks like for Reed Shepard right now. So Houston, they definitely got a star in him, a future star in him. I'm happy to see him hooping. Terrence Shannon, Rob looks good. Matas on the Bulls, man. Look, he slipped a little. Like before last year, he was like high on the scouting, on the scouting boards, draft board. He was really supposed to be like a top three projected pick. He slipped to the Bulls, and I feel like that was a good situation for him because the Bulls, they're a team that I think is. We talk about this all the time. It's time for them to just go ahead and move on and hit that reset button. But he's out there balling, and I love his confidence, man. He has so many quotes. He's challenging guys one on one. He's talking about how he's just so confident. He puts so much work in, and he's 6'10", man, like 6'10" that can dribble. He can move. He can get up and down the floor. He's very skilled. So I've been pleased to watch his game. But I'm gonna be real. All of the a lot of the rookies, Bub Carrington, Tristan De Silva, McCain, like all of the first round rookies, majority of them, they look pretty good for a class that people said wasn't going to be that good or didn't have that much talent. So far in the summer league, this like in recent memory, this is one of the best summer leagues as far as performances that I can remember. So just as for all around, like a lot of these guys are hooping. So it's been impressive to watch them, do that, and I'm just looking forward to see these guys grow.
Yeah, so that was one of the storylines that I took away. Obviously, it's summer league, and you don't want to go OD either way, right? You don't want to, because Josh Selby went crazy for the Grizzlies years ago in summer league. Trey Young didn't have the best summer league, and they were trashing him, right? And so you want to take it with a grain of salt. For me, summer league is for rookies and guys that are coming back. It's two different. It's two different. I'm grading them on different curves, right? For a rookie like a Reed Shepard, is the game looking sort of easy for you? Are you not being overwhelmed by the game? When I see a Reed Shepard, it's like, okay, his game is mature for the summer league. Like he's ready. He's not overwhelmed. Like he's playing within himself. He's making plays. Like his game pops. And players coming back, I want to see you take over and dominate and lead. We saw with Keontae George with Utah, Ricky Council for the Sixers. He looks like a guy who should be playing like he's playing. Like he's been in the league, right? You have some experience, so you should be having your way. Jaime Jaquez, he just it's child's play. Like he's like he's playing for Miami. I think they're sitting him down now as they should, but yeah, he did what he had to do, and let's get out. For Sar, watching a little bit of the Wizards games, he needs to get down low. He needs to get aggressive with the ball. He's trying to be. It's like every 6'10" and above hooper now is trying to be a Kevin Durant. And there's only one KD. I want people to understand this. So let's stop all the comparisons. Let's stop trying to be a Kevin Durant. It was different. If you watched him at Texas his freshman year, the fluidity with which he was moving at 6'10", it's not being done. It is not, right? So be your own player. So I hope the Wizards coaching staff, obviously you want to be well rounded, right? That's the game. Positionless basketball, versatile skill sets. These are huge components of the game today. So there's nothing wrong with being a 7-footer and having a skill set to be able to handle, to be able to shoot it. Look at Wemby, right? But you're not Wemby, Sar. You still have a long way to go offensively. Defensively, I think he's going to be fine. But I think this Wizards coaching staff really has to reel him in. I'm not sure who's in Sar's ears to have him thinking like, yo, when I was watching the highlights of him pre-draft, he seemed to be more aggressive, and that's what I was expecting in the summer league. So I don't know what's going on, but for him, he needs to be aggressive. You're not Steph Curry. Like, be a 7-footer, be aggressive with the ball. Stop trying to settle for jump shots because you're not a shooter. Your form is look, the form is good, like it's solid, but no, you're 7 foot. Play like it, act like it. I'm not one of those fans and people who say big men need to be constricted to the post. I don't believe in that. But at a certain point, you got to remember that you're a 7-footer, and I need to use my size. This is a gift that I've been given, and I don't need to waste it. Like, if you don't want to be if you don't want to be down low, like, we could have gave that height to somebody else. I'm sorry, and that's just how I see it. Reed Shepard, when we talked about him, shout out to Bub Carrington. Um, Tyler Kolek for the Knicks. I wrote his name down. If you didn't watch him at Marquette, Big East player, one of the best players in college basketball. He's not going to be flashy. He's not going to stand out. But every time I watch him so far for the Knicks this summer league, he's making he's making the right reads. Like, he's getting guys in great scoring position. He can knock down shots. He's been one of my favorite watches in the summer league. Just his passing ability, his vision. He's setting up guys in spots that the average person is not even seeing. And so that was a great pickup for the Knicks. Great backup situation they have now behind Brunson. They just picked up Cam Payne. So you got Jalen Brunson, Cam Payne, Tyler Kolek. That's a nice 3 guard situation for New York. Another name I wanted to bring up, and we can talk about like where we see his future, is Imani Bates. He's playing well for the Cavaliers. If you don't remember Imani Bates, he was hyped up once again to be a Kevin Durant type. He was in Sports Illustrated, just like we saw Jabari Parker. Like, you know how the national media does. Like, they hype up these high school guys, and more often than not, they don't live up to it, right? And so Imani Bates is that classic case of being hyped. When I saw him in high school, I saw a talented player. I didn't see Kevin Durant. You're not going to see that. I saw a kid who had the confidence. I saw a kid who had the love for the game. You saw that he wanted to be great, but there was still something missing within his game. It didn't scream out elite to me. I didn't see elite. And then he went to Memphis to play, and then he got to the league, second round pick for the Cavs, I believe. And then he's been sort of like a G League player for the most part, right? And so coming into the summer league this year, he's doing exactly what you would hope a guy with some experience in his background is doing. He's dominating, right? Well, not dominating, but he's standing out. And so for Imani Bates, my question is, who is he in the NBA, and will he ever find that comfortable niche in the league? That's my only question, because I don't know. He doesn't do anything great. He's not a great ball handler, not a great shooter. I like that he's developed his playmaking ability. He's starting to be a better passer now, but he has to figure out his role and his niche. That's what is up for most guys that enter the league. You're not going to be a franchise player. You got to find out who you are in this league. And for Imani Bates, he's at that point now. Like, you got to figure it out now, or else you're going to be in summer league again next year.
Yeah, and I also like that he gained about, they said, I think they hit 20 pounds, and he looks stronger out there physically. Um, I think the thing with him is, like you said, he has to find his role, because coming up, he's always been the guy. He's been the main scorer. He's been the main ball handler. But he's in the NBA now, where guys are better than him at different areas of the game. Um, So I don't know. Is he going to be like a spark guy off of the bench that can come in and get you buckets? We know there's always a role for that. Or could he potentially he end up being, a great shooter? I feel like he's a decent, solid shooter, but he's not like a 40% shooter, dead eye shooter like right now. Can he become that? I don't know. That's just going to have to happen over time. But this is good for him because he needed to show that okay, I can come out here and compete with these guys. That way, maybe the Cavs will give him a chance to be on the roster for a full season and not have him bouncing back and forth between the G League. I'm rooting for him though. I've liked him because I like his game. I've liked him since high school. We know he had his issues at college or whatever, but he made it to the pros. So the opportunity's there for him, but he's definitely playing good. Another guy that's been balling is Jordan Miller on
Yeah, I
the
was just looking at his
Clippers.
numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been killing. I don't know where this I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know where it's going to end up, but he's killing. Hopefully, he can continue to ride that train to the season. And Josh Christopher too. He had
I
a
was going to bring him up. Yeah.
crazy heat check, like crazy in the fourth. He had 21 points. He was cooking.
Um, Josh Christopher averaging 21 points a game so far in Vegas. They've played 2 games. Yeah, a guy who was with Houston, and the Houston situation. A lot of young guys. I mean, there was no chance for him to honestly really carve out a solid, consistent role. And I think going to Miami to me is like if you're a young player trying to find your way in the league, trying to find your niche, and actually learn how to be a professional and find your way in the league. He couldn't have landed in a perfect situation, right? And so once again, another case of a guy who is trying to find his way in this league. You have experience. You're in the summer league in your second year, and you're playing like how you should play. Like he should be. This is what he should be doing as a guy who has NBA experience, right? And he was well. He was pretty well known coming out, in high school. He was one of those, high publicized players. I think, on social media. Like so, he was known. And so it's good to see him still fighting his way and still trying to figure out how to make an impact in this league. Jared McCain is a nice player. I still wish the Sixers would have drafted Dalton Connect. I'm just saying. Like, I want to be careful because this isn't me hating on Jared McCain because we're at a space now you can't give an honest opinion about something without being called, oh, you're hating on them. No, I have no issue with Jared McCain. He's going to be a nice player. But for the Sixers, for me, the age of Don Connect shouldn't matter because, first of all, your number one player is on borrowed time right now. He's in his 30s now. So you need to win now. We aren't the Bulls. We aren't the Pistons. We aren't the Wizards. We don't need to draft 18, 19, 20-year-old guys. Don to connect to me with his size, his ability to score at all the levels he's putting up in 2 games, 22 points a game. To me, I still wish we would have drafted Don Connect. Am I off on that?
No, no, but I will say McCain's play in the summer league has like he's kind of won me over more so from draft night because I mean I like McCain at Duke, but I felt like Connect was the better player. I still think he is as of now, but I see the vision with McCain. Like he can end up being kind of how Maxi was for us. Like
Hmm.
he'll end up being a star guard in this league. I think McCain has that ability, just like Maxi. Their games are similar too. He's not as quick as Maxi, but the way he moves on the court, his ability to shoot the three balls, actually a better shooter than Maxi was at this point in his career. The way he plays passing lanes and the way he runs in transitions, and he's actually a better playmaker than Maxi was at this point in his career too. So I see the vision. Um, Connect. I still do wish we would have got him, but I feel like it's going to end up being a situation where we can't be mad at who we got. You know what I mean? I feel like either way, they're both going to be good players with a
Yeah.
bright future in the league.
My only question for McCain is the ability to really explode and beat people off the dribble. That's what Maxi has. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Maxi can get wherever he wants to go, he's going there, right? And so with McCain, I don't know yet. And what is his ceiling for the Sixers? As long as you have Tyrese Maxey starting, you can't play McCain and Maxey at the same time, right? And so is it going to be your six man? Is that what your vision is for him? And so those are my question marks long term. I think he's won me over more and more watching him. But long term for this franchise, as long as Maxi's here, how do you see that working, especially defensively, right? Um, I was just a big fan of Connect. In the college game, it was Dalton Connect Reed Shepard, and Rob DeLam. Like those were my guys. Like I loved watching them, and I was high on them entering the draft. And so, yeah, I was just like, you had a great opportunity to get a guy who is ready to go now, has size. I felt like it was the perfect fit. It was the perfect fit. With all things being equal, I'm going to go with the 6'6" guy. If you give me a 6'2" guy and 6'6" guy who do the same things, it's not rocket science. I'm going with the 6'6" guy. That's just me. That's just how I see it. And you made a good point about this year's rookie class, and this is what I've been trying to say and talk about. Like they were quick to judge these guys based off of their not being the elite name this year, right? Like let these guys play, let these guys develop. Ron Holland, who I was high on, he's been looking solid. Like I'm really rooting for this year's class. It's going to be a lot. Castle, before he got hurt, was looking legit, right? Like, and so, like, there's some good guys in this draft. Devin Carter, he has an injury, so he hasn't been able to play. He's going to be a good player in this league. Like, so AJ Johnson had a huge game yesterday for the Bucks. He was a shocker in the first round to the Bucks, right? But he could be a possible future solid player in this league. So let these guys develop. You never know how this is going to work out. But so far, maybe the top two names, Risha and Sarr, haven't generated the buzz, but pound for pound, I'm liking what I'm seeing from these guys from top to bottom in the summer league. Before we end the summer league conversation, this will probably be the last time I say anything about Bronny, unless he does something great. Like if he does something, like if he finds himself in the rotation, is actually producing for the Lakers. We know what Jaylen Brown said. I don't think he's wrong. And he shouldn't have had to. He didn't really apologize. He said he said it's a flex to have your son play with you in the league, which is true. And Bronny has all the tools and resources to help him succeed, which is true. So nothing that Jaylen Brown said is wrong. And why is it a big deal for an NBA player, a champion, the Finals MVP, proving himself, right? Why is it a big deal that he's saying a second round pick he doesn't think he's an NBA player? Why is that?
Like,
Why is that crazy? Most second round picks aren't ready for the NBA. So why is that a big? Yeah, I said it. What's the issue? We know what it is. We don't need to say it, but it's a non-story to me. And these are the conversations that most players in the NBA, I guarantee you, are having. They're not stupid. They know that Bronny cannot play in the league right now. Like, what are we talking about?
yeah,
If you're 6'3", if you're 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6 foot, whatever, you have to be special. Like you got to do something really, really, really good to make the league. How many 6'1", 6'2" guys we know that can really hoop, that have better than above average skills? That's not gonna get you to. That's just not good enough. Like you gotta, like Steph Curry, Kyrie, Cam Payne isn't a superstar in the NBA, but what he did at Murray State was legit, and he's found his place in the NBA. Bronny is 6'1", 6'2", isn't a jump shooter, isn't a strong ball handler, has no moves with the ball, creativity-wise. He's a solid passer. I'll give him that. Defensively, yes. They're pigeonholing him into a 3-and-D guy at 6'1", 6'2". JJ Redick said that he can be a Lou Dort type of player. Lou Dort is 6'4", number one. And Lou Dort was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year at Arizona State. So let's not disrespect Lou Dort. It went from Drew Holiday to Lou Dort. Like, what are we doing here? Like, let's stop with the lazy comps because he's not Drew Holiday. Let's cut that out now. And he's not Lou Dort. Lou Dort did some great things in college his freshman year. So at a certain point, you got to say he's a second round pick. Let him develop into who he's going to be. But the names that I'm hearing, no, it's not happening. That's the last time I'm saying anything about Bronny James, unless he does something of note that we have to talk about.
yeah. The comparisons was crazy because I've always thought GP2 is like his, and that's being like I don't even know if he'll be GP2.
Who did
I
work
don't
in
even know.
camp?
Yeah, but that's like the best I could see him being as of now. Like I don't even know if he'll be GP2, but that's like my like that's what I see. You know, a guy who can play D, give out some energy and hit shots here and there. That's what I see in him. The Jaylen Brown thing, I just wish he didn't say anything on Twitter. Like I wouldn't even comment on it because yeah, I said what I said. Him saying what he said on Twitter is kind of like it's kind of trying to soften the blow, but it's like nah, bro. You know, I know what you mean. We know what you mean. Everybody sees it, unless you're a Bron fan or a Bron stan, whatever you want to call it. Everybody sees it. And what's funny is I saw this on Twitter the other day where Bron tweeted during the season. I don't know if you remember this. He was like, I'm watching League Pass tonight, and Bronny could definitely play these guys.
Yeah,
These guys, he was like, it's light work or something.
I
And,
remember that.
and I
A lot of
forgot.
people have conveniently forgotten about that, bro.
I actually forgot. Like, not because it's Bron. I just forgot that he said
I
that. And
didn't.
it's like,
I
bro.
look. I keep receipts.
And it's like, bro, your son is out here. Every time I look up, somebody's making him trip or fall. He looks like he's getting pushed around. He's 0 for 14 from three. He's airballing. Like we're talking about all these guys they're playing well in summer league. You telling me he can't be decent if he's supposed to be if he's ready for the league and is lightweight and is so. And I don't want to like me personally I'm not one of those guys that just hates Bron and wants to hate on his kid too. But you set yourself up for this. You set your son up for this with that tweet was crazy. Just the whole politics behind it, like him getting a guaranteed 4-year contract as a second round pick. He hasn't done anything to prove that. But we know what's going on. You know, it's the Lakers. They're trying to keep you there. They're trying to keep you happy. So everything that's around it is just crazy. And I don't even like to a certain extent, like it's not even Bronny's fault because ever since he's been in high school, he said he doesn't want to be under the shadow of his dad, even though it's inevitable. He said that, you know, and he even when it comes time to like answering the interview questions and all that, he always answered them. He answered them correctly. You know, he doesn't try to toot his own horn. You could tell he just wants to play basketball. He wants to win. He wants to get better. But it's so much pressure and so much on him because of his dad's reputation and what his dad has said. You know, so it's kind of like I wish Brown would just let him play. Like, even if it's like, yo, you know what? And that's my concern. Like, is Brian going to really try to stronghold the Lakers into putting him on a regular team? You see, he's not ready in the summer league. Don't come on, Brian. Let him go to the G League. Let him develop. Like,
Well,
I
they
hope
have
it
to,
doesn't get
bro.
to that point.
They have to for the doc. That's being. You know what I mean? Like the point of Bronny being on the Lakers is to make history. So it's going to count once he plays on the floor. Like I play.
Yeah,
You got to make history. You don't draft his son and not play him because you got to make history. That's what it's about.
but
You know the
that's
documentaries are coming. This is what it is. And
but
so
that's
it's
so you setting up for failure. He looks corny out there. He doesn't look. It does not look good.
you
It's
know
not
what's
good.
crazy though? You can't have an honest conversation about it, right? Either you're all for it and you're putting your blinders on, or you're a hater. No, I have nothing against. I don't know LeBron James. He owes me nothing. I owe him nothing. I don't know him. The second best player in the NBA history to me, right? Even that is considered hating, which is beyond me. But whatever. This is a different era. Whatever. I have nothing against Bronny James. He's a young kid. Like, come on. Like, what is he? 19? Is he 19?
I think so. Yeah.
Hey, come on. He's a kid. I have like, what do I look like? What do I gain from a kid not excelling and reaching his dreams? I have nothing. Like, I want all these guys that we're talking about to be successful. Like, come on. It gives me something great to talk about. I don't, I want to praise these guys. I don't want to trash them. But can we have an honest conversation about how this whole situation was handled? Can we have an honest conversation about Bronny and where his skill sets are, right? And so I see people now saying, well, Sarr had a horrible game last night. Where's this attention at? Sarr's been getting cooked, number one. But number two, you're comparing a 7-footer who has shown great potential over the last few years, who scouts have watched a lot of times. So it's a different conversation. Like, we know what Sarr is. We know what the potential and the projection is for Sarr as a 7-footer who has the scouts know, right? Versus a kid in Bronny James, freshman year at USC, wasn't even the third best player, right? Boogie Ellis Isaiah Collier, like Boogie Ellis didn't get drafted. What are we talking about here? And so let's have an honest conversation about who Bronny is as a basketball player right now. Where did he go to high school? Sierra Canyon. Those teams are stacked usually, right? He's never had to be the guy in high school. He's never had to face double and triple teams and learn how to create and learn to perform under pressure and learn to make his teammates better, right? And so you put him in a position now where those skills aren't developed. You're asking him to pretty much speed up and fast forward his developmental process under immense pressure and expectations where his skill set isn't built for that. All because you wanted to make history. If this was any other situation, if LeBron wasn't, let's say LeBron was a ninth, 10th man on the Pistons, and he had a son that averaged 4 or 5 points at USC, would he be telling his son to enter the draft? That's all I'm saying. Like let's not be so like naive here. Like we know what it is, right? And so when I see Bronny, he's not a bad basketball player. He's better than average. He has to find out what his role and his niche is in the league. And I hear the Lakers talking about their developmental program with the last player they developed.
I couldn't tell you.
Like, who was the last young player they developed?
I don't know who they developed.
Don't bring me Brandon Ingram and Julius Randle because they were going to be good regardless. And they came into their own after they left the Lakers. Am I right?
Yeah.
like what do we? Lonzo Ball was going to be Lonzo, regardless. Austin Reeves, you can say, okay, we'll see where that takes him. But yeah, I don't know. Any closing thoughts before I totally finish off my Bronny discourse for the rest of the season? Unless
my only thing is just let the kid develop, but stop giving him all this attention. Bron, stop saying he can play with these guys because he can't even play with the summer league guys, as we see. Let him develop. Because the thing is, after you leave the league, nobody cares anymore. Like they're going to do whatever they want with Bronny. Like as far as putting him on the G League, not playing him. So if you truly want him to be successful, you should want him to develop now, which is why he should have stayed at USC, truthfully. But that's another topic. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. I hope it works out for him. Like I hope he really develops. But it's not looking good right now.
All right, that's enough of the Bronny talk. We continue our division by division conversation. We look at the Northwest now. Of course, we go in order about who finished first, who finished last. So who finished first? OKC, obviously, finished first in the West. Their additions, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, Dylan Jones in the draft, Nikolai Topic. I guess I gotta figure out that last name before the season starts. They got him in the draft with the 12th pick. They lost Josh Giddey, of course, in the Caruso trade with Chicago, and Gordon Hayward is a free agent. How's this team looking right now? What's the outlook?
This team is ready to make another run back to the postseason. Potentially finish first again. I like them finishing top 2. That's a tough division, as we know, but I like them finishing top 2 if everything's healthy. I love the additions. They had one of the best like off seasons on paper because they ended up getting Caruso, which is another good defender. He could also shoot the ball, and they filled a need with Hartenstein. Hartenstein he was big for New York. Like he ended up taking the starting spot from Mitchell Robinson. He showed that he can defend, he can rebound. He even has a little floater, little touch to him. That's what they need at OKC. It's going to be interesting to see what the lineup is going to be as far as, is Caruso and Dort, are they going to be on the court together, which I think they should be. What's going to happen with Chet and Hartenstein? Like, are they going to put Chet at the 4? But then you have to remember they have Jalen Williams as well. I don't know. But I have enough trust in that team and Mark Dagnall. I have enough trust in SGA, Jalen Williams, and all those guys to, they're only going to get better. And I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out. And they're a team, they like playing with each other. I like the way they play. All their additions are going to fit seamlessly with that team. So yeah, I think they're good. They're trending upwards.
I'm looking up something real quick. Um, but yeah, I mean, look, the Thunder they were my team last year. Like I enjoyed watching them. One of my number one league pass team for the last couple of years because you can see the course that they were on. Love the Caruso addition, just defensively, what they already bring to the table, what he brings. I think he'll be able to help, take pressure off a lot of guys. Caruso, he's not lost when he has the basketball either. What I mean by that, he knows what to do with it. He's not like, I got the basketball, I can't take more than two dribbles. Like he knows what he's doing. He can attack, right? And so I like that. Isaiah Hartenstein, the one question mark that we had with OKC was their toughness down low. They get beat up in the boards. We know Chet is still working on his strength. So you added Hartenstein, who's just nothing but a rugged player. I love it. So Caruso, SGA, Jalen Williams, Casey Wallace, Sixers legend Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, Kenrich Williams, Jalen Williams. Like, yeah, I don't really have much to say. They were already a great team, but they got even better. I think they're a top two team in the West, if not repeating. Now I'm trying to look at because they have a boatload of picks, and I feel like I'm trying to look at the picks that they have for 2025. Because I feel like I saw something crazy that they might have somebody's lottery pick next year. So it's the Clippers pick, right? With the
Mm,
SGA trade and PG. Was that it?
I think so. Yeah, they're still reaping the benefits from that.
So hold on. This is how sick the Thunder are. Shout out to Sam Presti. So this is from the Oklahoman, the newspaper out there. So they have their own pick next year. OKC has the right to swap its 2025 first round pick with either Houston, top 10 protected, or the Clippers. So it's conceivable that the Thunder could have a lottery pick again in what's supposed to be a loaded 2025 class. What I'm saying is the Thunder, salute. You're going to be good for the next decade. Congratulations. That's good. Good job. Good job. Next up, the Nuggets. Champions from 2 years ago. They added Trey Alexander, he was undrafted from Creighton. I like his game. Deron Holmes in the draft. PJ Hall, he was undrafted. Sixers legend Dario Saric. They lost Kentavious Caldwell Pope. He's with the Magic. Justin Holiday and Reggie Jackson.
The Nuggets, the Nuggets, the Nuggets. I mean,
They still got the Joker.
yeah, they still got Joker. They still got Jamal. They're still going to be in the playoffs. They still should be like a top five team in the West. As far as how they stack up in the division, I don't know. Like regular season, the Thunder caught them. It was close. Thunder
Yeah.
caught them, and I think they're going to be better than them this year in the regular season. Actually, Timberwolves. I feel like the Timberwolves might be better than them in the regular season too. Man, it's going to be kind of that loss for KCP. Like that hurts. That's a loss that hurts because he's the guy that wanted to guard, the wings and the guards out there. Him and Eric Gordon, those are their defensive anchors on the perimeter and just all around. So
Yeah.
and he was a good shooter too.
Right.
So I don't. Who's going to replace KCP? That's my question. That's literally my only question for them. Who's going to replace KCP? Like, what's the vision for that? Or is Brian supposed to be coming in and stepping up? Is he supposed to be the starter this year? Is that what the plan is?
I, yeah, I think so. I feel like they're sort of like where the Warriors found themselves, right? They were trying to help that Kaminga and Poole and Wiseman and Moses Moody would sort of step up and help continue what they have been doing. Obviously, Denver's in a different situation because Jokic, Murray, Michael Porter Jr., they're still pretty young, right? Aaron Gordon, but they're banking on Julian Strother, who's been looking good in the summer league. They're banking on a Peyton Watson. So to me, this season is all about. I feel like this year will tell us a lot about the next few years for the Nuggets because the teams that we've already talked about, especially the Thunder, you mentioned the Timberwolves, their young nucleus Like they're still developing, they're still growing, but yet they're still winning, right? The Nuggets are a team that they've been there, they've won already, but your best players, they're getting up there, right? And so a Christian Braun, a Julian Strawther, a Peyton Watson, maybe a Trey Alexander's a hitting gem, undrafted from Creighton, as we just talked about, with Aaron Gordon, with the guys that are already proven. I think if they take that next step collectively, I think that would be a major boost to Denver. So this year for me, you know what the Joker is, you know what Murray's about to do, you know what MPJ is, you know what Aaron Gordon is. Well, out of all those guys there, I think Michael Porter Jr. could really help elevate them as well. Like he's the guy that maybe can sort of improve a little more and show a little bit more consistency, I would say. Outside of that, Murray, Jokic, and Gordon, you pretty much know what you're getting. But MPJ, I think he could be another X factor along with the other young guys. So for me, Denver, this is about who's going to step up now, who's going to help this team stay afloat and stay on pace with the Mavericks, with the Timberwolves, with the Thunder, with even teams that are still on the come up, right? Because in a few years, the Spurs might be scary. The Grizzlies are going to be back, and so this is a different Western Conference than a couple years ago. It's a new wave, fresh wave, exciting wave that's continuing to grow and get better. And so, for me with Denver, it's about those young guys. Next up, another young team, the Timberwolves. They had my favorite draft, picking up Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon Jr., who I remember in our mock draft, I thought I was crazy saying he should go to the Bulls, and he's looking pretty solid so far. And they picked up the veteran Joe Ingles. They lost Kyle Anderson. He's with the Warriors. Monte Morris is with the Suns, and Jordan McLaughlin, who's with the Kings. How you feeling about the T Wolves?
T Wolves, man. I think this is their year, like to really get it. Start off hot, finish hot. I don't know how far they'll go in the playoffs. We know they made it to the conference finals last year. They'll definitely be in position to make it to the finals. But as far as regular season goes, I could see them being one seed in the West. Ant-Man is here. Like he's arrived. Now I think this is the season where he like just takes off completely. Like, yo, he might be, top 5 in the league. Like we might start having that conversation because he's shown the ability to play in big games, right? He's a good defender. He's a good offensive player. He's improved his playmaking. He has to improve a little more. He's improved his shooting. He's just exciting to watch. Like you can tell when guys are about to become that next guy in the league. Like you just see it. We saw it with SGA when he was, hooping before this explosion the past 2 years, and we see it with Ant. Like he's been knocking at the door. He's knocking at the door. He's getting the media praise. We see how he's acting on Team USA. Like the writing's on the wall. So as long as they stay healthy, and we talk about the additions they made, getting Terrence Shannon Jr., he looks good. Dillingham, that was a good move for them. They got younger on the bench. They got more athletic. They're going to get up and down. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the Timberwolves do this year, man. They're going to be exciting to watch, and I really do think they should be a top 3 team, if not number 1 in the West.
Yeah, I'm finally buying into the Timberwolves now, fully. I had my reservations last year, especially with the Maverick series. I just didn't. When you look at it, Anthony Edwards, as great as he is, you can't just rely on one person to be an attacker off the bounce and really be a threat, right? And so when I saw what they did in the draft, man, the Spurs could have had Wemby and Dilly. I thought about that all college season. Like, man, imagine if the Spurs are able to link them up. Can't believe they let him go to Minnesota, but what he brings is an explosive type point guard off the bench. You can learn from Mike Conley. Love that move. And Terrence Shannon, one of the best players in the college game at Illinois last year. He was a lottery talent to me. We talked about it during our mock draft coverage. Like he was, along with the 3 guys I mentioned, Connect, Dillingham, and Reed, Terrence Shannon. As the season went on, I was starting to pay more attention to what he was doing. And man, physical presence, proven, energetic, another scorer, another creator to help Ant-Man. So as those guys develop over the next couple of years, it's going to help. It's going to help this franchise. Like I'm excited to see what they do now. Like I was still on the fence about Minnesota, but now I can take them fully serious. So salute to what Minnesota's doing. Let me get to the bottom. Teams that are ready for the Cooper flag, Ace Bailey, Uh, all the young guys in next year's draft class, the Utah Jazz. They added Isaiah Collier, really good pickup in the draft. Cody Williams. They lost Chris Dunn, who's with the Clippers. Remember Taylor Horton Tucker? He's a free agent now. Remember he was like the Lakers' great hope. So now, what I see on paper, bro, is a collection of nice young talent, but I don't see a franchise player on this roster. And to me, Utah is trying to figure out who that guy is. And I think they have an idea. There's a kid going to Duke next year. I think they got an idea who they want to be that guy. They got to figure out what they're going to do with marketing, number one. To me, that's like either you're going to trade him to Golden State or no. Like, what's happening? Like, you're I don't know what type of situation you're looking for. What type? And we know Danny Ainge is going to look for all the picks that he can get. But at a certain point, you got to figure out, okay, if we keep marketing, we know that he isn't a number one guy on the championship team, as talented as he is. But if we move him down a notch to his perfect role as a number two, we get a top guy next year. Boom, we got something. So for Utah, they got to figure out who they want Markin to be. And if he's not there anymore, what are you waiting for? But for Utah, I love Keontae George. They have like Isaiah Collier, like Walker Kessler. They have some nice young talent, but to put it all together, they gotta find that guy, and we know what that guy is. It's an Ant-Man. It's a Steph. It's a Joker. It's an Embiid. It's a Brunson. It's an Ant-Man. It's a Luka. Like, we know who these guys are. So that's my outlook on Utah.
Yeah, it's time for Utah to just let's go all in on getting assets. So that means moving whoever we can. Like if you move Laurie, let's do it. John Collins, let's do it. Do they still have Jordan Clarkson?
Yeah, he's like another guy that has to get moved.
Yeah, let's get these guys out of here because this 2025 draft,
Yeah.
whatever people were saying about this last draft, they're not going to be saying that about 2025 draft. It's talent, especially at the top. And you want to put yourself in position to have assets to move to the top if you're not going to be at the top. And you want to be able to have, a good chance in the lottery. So you need to get rid of some of these guys, get some picks, get some young players with potential. You already hit on the nose about Keontae George. They have Walker Kessler. They might have some other guys on the roster that can, show some promise during the regular season once they get more minutes, once these other guys get moved. So I think this is an easy call for them. Like, let's not play around. Let's get these guys out of here. Let's do it soon before the trade deadline comes and their value goes down. Let's get ready for the draft 2025, man. Focus on developing the young talent that we do have. So this is a no-brainer for them. They should lock in with that.
Yeah, I mean, the next team that we talk, I'm more hopeful about Utah's future than the next team we're about to talk about. I think Utah is in a great position because you have the veteran pieces that you can get viable. You can get something viable like a John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, Markkanen. All three of those guys will be great on any playoff team. I mean, Jordan Clarkson is like, yeah, he can go. If you haven't watched a lot of Utah Jazz games, like he's really good. And so you couple that with the prospects for next year with the young pieces they already have. I think if Utah does this right, they can get within the next few years for sure. So the next team, before we close out, the Portland Trailblazers, just to go over their offseason, they drafted Donovan Clingan. They picked up Denny Advia from the Wizards, and they lost Malcolm Brogdon, who's with the Wizards. That was a trade. I look at Portland, bro. Number one question is, who is Scoot Henderson? Started off pretty slow as a rookie. I think he came on as of, late in the season. He started to play a little bit better. The point guard position isn't easy in the league. And so it's going to take most guys some adjustment, right? I still like Scoot. I still think he's going to be a really good player, a good starter in this league. But once again, is that guy on the Blazers roster right now? That's the question. I like Shaedon Sharpe. Anthony Simons, I love his game. Is his future in Portland? I kind of question that. I think they may try to ship him out, possibly. But outside of that, nothing else really excites me about this Trailblazers roster. DeAndre Ayton's still there, so it's like he's been in the league, he has some experience. He would be better suited for a team that's ready to compete right now, I would say. But you drafted Donovan Clingan. What are you doing there? Chris Murray is a young player. Jeremy Grant, I don't see his future being in Portland too much longer. I'm watching for Scoot. I'm watching for Shaedon Sharpe. I'm watching to see if Simon stays there or where he goes next. Possibly, I'm watching for Donovan Clingan. Outside of that, yeah, they got to be locked into this full tank job because this team isn't going anywhere.
I just don't know what division is in Portland because all their talent is like capped by other talent that they already have there. Like we talked about Klingon, but they have Aiton. We talk about Scoop, but Simons is there. Like even Sharp, you know what I mean? It's like I don't get what the vision is. Like it's kind of like, all right, we got a whole bunch of young guys. Let's see who's going to end up being the guy. Simons, out of all of them, Simons is the one who has showed the most promise, but you got to account for the fact that he's been on the team for a minute too. Like he's been there since Dame was there. Like he learned under Dame, so I don't really know what the vision is. Like I don't. Of course, they're not going to be good, but they have a lot of questions to answer in the coming years. Like, because my thing is, how are we going to see what Klingon is going to be when you got Aiden down there? Like, if I'm them, I would want to draft a guy and have him as a starter off rip, and then see what he can be. Like, is he really one of them? Not, and it's like he's behind Aiden. He's not behind some solidified center that's like, okay, we understand. You know what I mean? How much is he going to learn from Aiden? Like, Aiden hasn't done much in the league. Like, he's solid, but he's not one of them. Like, I don't know. And then Simons in school, it's like they're both young. Like they're battling. I don't think they're really trying to help each other out, quote unquote. I don't know. I don't get what the. I don't
There's no
know. As far
direction.
as school, I still have hope for school. I was surprised he wasn't playing in the summer league because other guys are playing in the summer league. There,
He should be playing.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like
There's no
I don't.
direction.
That's really my comment for them. I don't know what's going on.
And for a young team like this, is DeAndre Ayton the type of veteran you want on your team
That's
to
what I'm
sort of
like. What are we learn?
to show guys how to win?
Yeah, what are we learning?
Because I questioned him in Phoenix a lot. Like I don't see talented player, but I don't see anything more than what he is. And for a young team, what is his purpose? You're you just spent a high pick on a young big who needs all the reps he can get. You're on a young team that isn't going anywhere. You might as well let him get him all the reps and game experience you need. Having Ayton there, how does that help? And is Ayton going to be that leader that is needed for him to develop? Right now, I guess is Ayton their veteran?
And that's what
Rob Williams,
I forget. They got Robert Williams
Jeremy
stuff.
Grant. Your veterans are DeAndre and Jeremy Grant and Rob Williams. Those are your vets.
I don't get what the
So what are we doing here?
I don't know what the situation. I just don't get it.
I don't.
And
I don't
at least
understand.
Singing came from UConn. At least he came from an actual structured organization, a structured system.
I don't know
But
if
now,
there's structure here.
yeah, like it's I don't know. I could see it just not meshing well. I don't know.
Let this be a lesson, and I'm gonna keep saying it for teams and fans. This is the result of holding on for too long. What do I mean by that? You had CJ McCollum, you had Dame Lillard. You recently just got off of Dame. You got back something, Drew Holiday, right? Only to have to trade him because you're not going anywhere. Drew Holiday is not staying in Portland. Same thing with the Wizards. You held on way too long with John Wall and Brad Beal. When you hold on too long, you're left with this young pieces with no direction. Do not wait 2 years too late. That's what the Bulls did. Now you're stuck with Zach LaVine and Vucevic. What did you get for DeMar DeRozan? But what do I know, right? We see the writing on the wall for all these teams, but I don't understand why they cannot see it. Like this team has a ceiling, a cap. There was a cap with Dame and CJ. There was a cap in Washington with Wall and Bill. There was a cap with what was the other thing I mentioned? There was a cap in Chicago with DeMar, LaVine, and Vucevic. But
They still trying to go over the cap. I saw a report that said they're not trying to. They don't want to rebuild, even though they let go of DeMar Caruso.
you don't
They
want
still
here's the thing, you don't want to rebuild, but the game is going to tell you to rebuild. The
they have.
game is always going to tell you what you need to do. You just got to listen. It's simple. It's a simple game. The roster, the front off, like you can see it. It's simple. It's not complicated. Now you're stuck with LaVine. What do you at this point? You're not getting anything of value for Zach LaVine, in my opinion. What are you getting for LaVine right now?
They said his market is cooked because of that
My
contract. He can
my
play, but that
point.
contract and injury history,
My point
it's not
exactly.
even it.
Like you keep giving out these big contracts because you feel like you have to do it. You don't have to do anything but be smart and make wise decisions and think about the long term versus now where you have a cap. A trio of Vucevic, DeRozan, and LaVine was always going to have a ceiling.
Right.
It always was never going to be a champion. It just never was going to be a championship ceiling because the three guys that are mentioned aren't franchise players. They are never going to be number one guys. If you have a trio, not one of those guys can be a number one on a championship contender team, you're wasting your time. You're just that's what it is. Go back in the history of the championships that we've seen. There is a guy. Detroit is a different story. That was a special group, special coach. I don't see any Larry Browns around right now. I just don't see it. Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Chauncey, Tayshaun, Rip Hamilton. That was a special group. It's a different time though. Like, it's a different ball game.
Totally different.
Totally different time. Like you got to score 140, 130 some nights to win these ball games. Like we got guys giving you 50, 60. We're seeing 70-point games now. Like, come on. It's different. You know what I mean? So Portland, this is the result of holding on for too long. I hope you learned your lesson. But yeah, I don't see a direction. I think they need to get used to tankathon.com and lottery night for the next 2-3 years at least, I think. Comparing to the tough thing about the Blazers is that at least Utah has nice talent that you can see. Like, okay, Keontae George, you drafted a Cody Williams, you got Isaiah Collier. Like I see Walker Kessler with Portland. We don't know what Scoot is yet in the NBA, right? What's Anthony Simons? What's his role in Portland? Shaden Sharp. I like his talent, his potential, but it's just potential. And you still got to compete with Dallas, Denver, Minnesota, OKC, New Orleans. The Lakers still have LeBron. Wemby's here. Houston has some talent. Like, did I say the Grizzlies? So it's like, next 2-3 years, tankathon.com, study up on those prospects. If you're a Portland Trailblazers fan, start thinking about how they can get better in 2024, maybe 2026. We can talk about playoffs. Maybe talk playing in 2026. Maybe. That's just what it is. That's just the reality of it.
It might be 2028. I don't know. The way they act, I don't know.
Unless Scoop makes a major leap and they give a Cooper Flag or whoever is coming out next year and they really pop how they're supposed to, it's going to be a long road. It is. Like, we see what Detroit, it's been a long road for Detroit. It's a long road for the Wizards. Portland, buckle up. It's about to be a long road. So next week, who we got next? We talked about Pacific.
Southwest.
Oh, man. Southwest is that's Dallas,
Spurs. It's gonna be one of them ones.
Different. That's gonna be different. I'm excited about that.
One more thing before we leave too. Shout out Kyan Anthony and Elijah Arenas. They've been killing it. No, all right. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. You see Melo and Gilbert. They don't have to do a lot of campaigning for their kids. They just hooping.
Game says it all.
They just hooping. That's what it should be. Even though they're not in the league and they're not quote unquote LeBron, they're still big names in the basketball world, and they don't have to do all this. They're just we know who their dads is, and we see their game is like their dads, and that's all you need to know.
And if you know the game, if you've been around the game enough, you can see who's really a hooper. You see the skill set of Elijah, you see the skill set of Kion versus Bronny in high school. What was Bronny's skill set at Sierra Canyon?
He wasn't the best player on his team, I'll tell you that. Kion, no doubt, yeah.
You see the creativity from both those kids getting buckets. That wasn't Bronny. So, but where's the hype and attention for those two compared to where Bronny was?
Only attention when they play good, and but their dads, they don't have to campaign for them, and they're not putting a lot of pressure on them either.
No, there's no talk of like he should go here. Only, it's just like, no, let them go through the process. Let them develop on their own. Doesn't have to be manufactured. Doesn't have to be rushed. There's no need to rush. Your dad's a multi-millionaire. You could have stayed in college and developed with no pressure. Get your NIL. You was going to get NIL deals at USC. You're LeBron's
Yeah.
son. Like Nike was going to hook you up with free shoes. Like, come on, what are we doing? That's the other thing. Like, there's no pressure, but the pressure was of the essence. Like, I don't know how much longer I have in the league. Anything can happen. We got to get this done now. That's just what it is. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching another edition of Marshall Time. I hope you enjoyed it. More division by division breakdown next week. Remember, check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Y'all have a blessed week. We'll talk to you next time.
Peace out.